My name is Drusilla Henderson, and I'm 73 years old. For the past 5 years, my family has treated me like I'm fragile, like I'm weak, like I'm incapable of doing anything meaningful with my life. They were wrong, very wrong. Let me tell you about the moment that proved it. The moment I sat in a packed auditorium watching my family's hands literally shake when the announcer said my name, when their jaws dropped open, when they realized the weak, old woman they'd been dismissing for 5 years had just won one of the most prestigious awards in our city. It was a Thursday evening in October, the annual Atlanta Business Excellence Awards ceremony. Over 500 people packed into the ballroom of the Grand Hyatt, business leaders, entrepreneurs, politicians, media, everyone who was anyone in Atlanta business. My family was there, my 3 children, Levi, Addie, and Wash, along with their spouses and my grandchildren. They'd come because I'd invited them, told them I wanted them there for a special event. They'd agreed reluctantly, like they were doing me a favor by showing up to something they assumed would be boring and irrelevant. They sat 5 rows behind me. I'd gotten them tickets but not told them why we were there, not told them what was about to happen. The awards ceremony was in full swing. They'd already announced winners in various categories: Best New Business, Excellence in Innovation, Community Leadership Award, Outstanding Small Business. And then came the final category, the big one, the one everyone was waiting for. And now, the announcer said, a distinguished-looking man in a sharp navy suit, we come to our most prestigious award of the evening, the Lifetime Achievement in Business Award. This honor is given to an individual who has demonstrated exceptional business acumen, perseverance, innovation, and impact over the course of their career. The room went quiet. Everyone leaned forward. This was the award people talked about, the one that meant you'd truly made it. This year's recipient, the announcer continued, started her first business at age 68. Yes, you heard that right. 68 years old. While most people her age were retiring, she was just beginning. And in just 5 years, she has built a multi-million-dollar enterprise that employs over 200 people and has transformed an entire industry. I felt my heart pounding. This was it. This was the moment. She did this despite facing discrimination because of her age, despite family members who told her she was too old, too weak, too incapable, despite people who laughed at her dreams and said she should just accept being elderly and give up on ambition. Behind me, I heard my daughter Addie whisper to her husband, "Who is this person? She sounds amazing." If only she knew. But she didn't give up, the announcer said. She built her business from the ground up. She proved that age is just a number. She proved that you're never too old to chase your dreams. She proved that strength comes in many forms. And tonight, we honor her incredible achievement. The Lifetime Achievement in Business Award goes to. The announcer paused for dramatic effect. The room was silent, everyone waiting. Mrs. Drusilla Henderson, founder and CEO of Heritage Home Solutions. The room exploded in applause, people standing up, cheering, cameras flashing. And behind me, I heard gasps, choking sounds, the sound of someone dropping their phone. I stood up and turned around before walking to the stage. I wanted to see their faces, wanted to see the exact moment they realized. My son Levi's mouth was hanging open, literally hanging open. His face had gone pale. My daughter Addie had her hands over her mouth, shaking, actually shaking. My son Wash was gripping the armrests of his chair so hard his knuckles were white. His wife Bertie looked like she might faint. They stared at me like they'd seen a ghost, like the world had just turned upside down, like everything they thought they knew was wrong. I smiled at them, a calm, knowing smile. The smile of a woman who'd been underestimated for 5 years and had just proved everyone wrong in the most public way possible. Then I turned and walked toward the stage, walked past 500 people applauding, walked up the stairs in my elegant navy blue dress and silver heels, walked across the stage to accept my award. "Mrs. Henderson," the announcer said, shaking my hand and handing me a beautiful crystal trophy. "Congratulations. Would you like to say a few words?" "Yes," I said, stepping to the microphone. "I would." I looked out at the audience, at all those successful people, at the cameras, at my family still frozen in shock. 5 years ago, I began, I was a 68-year-old widow living in a small apartment. My husband had just died. My children thought I should just exist, just wait around to die, essentially. They said I was too old to work, too weak to start over, too incapable of building anything meaningful. My family shrank in their seats. People in the audience were looking back at them now, realizing who they were. But I didn't listen to them. I had an idea, I had a dream, and I had something more important. I had determination. So I started Heritage Home Solutions, a company that retrofits homes for elderly people so they can age in place safely and comfortably. Ramps, grab bars, accessible bathrooms, emergency alert systems. Everything needed to help seniors stay independent. In 5 years, we've helped over 10,000 families. We employ 200 people, many of them seniors who were told they were too old to work. We did $15 million in revenue last year, and we're just getting started. The audience applauded loudly, but I wasn't done. I'm accepting this award tonight not just for myself, but for every person who's been told they're too old, too weak, too incapable, for everyone who's been underestimated, for everyone who's been dismissed because of their age. This award proves that you're never too old to succeed. You're never too weak to build something powerful. You're never too late to chase your dreams. More applause, people on their feet now, a standing ovation. And to my family, I said, looking directly at them, who are here tonight and who are probably very surprised right now, thank you. Because your doubt, your dismissal, your constant reminders that I was too weak, that became my fuel. That became my motivation. That became the fire that drove me to prove you wrong. So thank you. I couldn't have done this without you telling me I couldn't do it. The audience loved it, laughter and applause, but my family looked like they wanted to disappear into the floor. I stepped away from the microphone, holding my trophy, and walked off the stage. And as I walked back to my seat, I thought about how we got here, how my family had treated me for 5 years, and how I'd secretly built an empire right under their noses. If this story has you hooked, you need to subscribe right now and hit that notification bell. We bring you the most dramatic grandmother stories every week. Drop a comment telling us where you're watching from: USA, UK, Canada, Jamaica, Kenya. Let us know. Now let's get into this story. But to understand how I got to that stage, how I built a multi-million-dollar business while my family thought I was doing nothing, I need to take you back to the beginning. Back to 5 years ago, when my husband Elton died and everything changed. 5 years ago, my husband Elton Henderson died of a heart attack. He was 70 years old. We'd been married for 48 years. Elton was my everything, my partner, my best friend, my support system. When he died, I felt like half of me died too. But I had to keep going, had to figure out life without him, had to figure out who I was as a widow instead of a wife. My 3 children, Levi, 50 years old, Addie, 47, and Wash, 44, came to the funeral. They were supportive at first, helping with arrangements, making sure I was okay. But then, about 2 weeks after the funeral, they had a family meeting at my house to discuss my future. "Mama," Levi said, taking charge as the oldest always did, "we need to talk about what you're going to do now." "What do you mean?" "We mean you need to start planning for your retirement years, for aging, for slowing down." "Levi, I'm 68, not 98. I'm not ready to slow down." Addie jumped in. "Mama, you've worked hard your whole life. You were a nurse for 40 years. Don't you think you've earned a rest? Don't you think it's time to just relax?" "What if I don't want to just relax?" Wash, my youngest, spoke up. "Mama, we're worried about you. You're alone now. You're getting older. You're going to need more help, more care. We think you should start considering assisted living, or at least moving in with one of us." "Assisted living? I'm 68 and healthy. Why would I go to assisted living?" "Because you're vulnerable, Mama," Levi said. "You're a widow, you're elderly, you can't take care of yourself forever." "I've been taking care of myself, and all of you for my entire life. That's different. You were younger then, stronger. But Mama, you have to face reality. You're weak now, you're old. And pretending you're still young and capable is just going to lead to you getting hurt. Weak, that's the word they kept using. Weak. I'm not weak, I said quietly. We know you don't want to admit it, Addie said in that patronizing tone that made me want to scream. No one wants to admit they're getting old and losing their abilities. But Mama, it's okay. It's natural. We're here to help you. We'll take care of you. I don't need you to take care of me. I can take care of myself. Mama, Wash said gently, like he was talking to a child. We love you, and we want what's best for you. And what's best is accepting your limitations. Accepting that you're in a new phase of life now. The phase where you let your children help you instead of trying to do everything yourself. They had it all planned out. They'd even brought brochures for assisted living facilities, for retirement communities, for senior activity centers where I could go do crafts and play bingo. Like that's all I was good for now, crafts and bingo. I appreciate your concern, I said, standing up. But I'm not ready to retire from life. I'm not ready to just exist. And I'm certainly not moving into assisted living. Mama, you're being stubborn, Levi said. No, I'm being myself. And if you can't see the difference between being weak and being widowed, then maybe you don't know me as well as you think you do. I asked them to leave. And they did, shaking their heads, convinced I was in denial about my age and capabilities. After they left, I sat in my quiet apartment and thought about what they'd said, about how they saw me. Weak, vulnerable, incapable, someone who needed to be managed and cared for like a child. It made me angry, but more than that, it made me determined to prove them wrong, determined to show them and myself that I was still capable of more than they imagined. That's when I started thinking about the idea that would become Heritage Home Solutions. My late husband, Elton, had fallen several times in the year before he died. Our house wasn't set up for aging. We'd lived there for 30 years, and it had stairs, high bathtubs, slippery floors. After his first fall, I'd researched modifications we could make. Grab bars, ramps, non-slip surfaces. But I'd been shocked by how expensive it was, how complicated, how many different contractors you needed, an electrician for the lighting, a carpenter for the ramps, a plumber for the bathroom modifications. It was overwhelming and cost prohibitive for many seniors. What if there was one company that did it all? One company that specialized in making homes safe for seniors. One company that understood the specific needs of aging people and could retrofit homes quickly, affordably, and with dignity. That was my idea, Heritage Home Solutions. But I had no business experience beyond managing our household finances. I'd been a nurse, not an entrepreneur. I didn't know how to start a company, didn't know about business licenses or insurance or marketing or any of it. So I started learning. I went to the library, took out books on starting a business, watched YouTube videos, attended free workshops at the Small Business Administration. And I didn't tell my children, because I knew what they'd say. They'd say I was being ridiculous. They'd say I was too old, too weak, too inexperienced. They'd try to stop me for my own good. So I kept it secret, and I started building my company in the shadows. The first challenge was money. Starting a business costs money. And while Elton had left me comfortable, not rich but comfortable, I didn't have a lot of extra cash to invest. So I got creative. I sold our house, the house where my children had grown up, the house that held 40 years of memories. But it was too big for me, too expensive to maintain, and too difficult to navigate as I got older. I downsized to a small apartment and used the profit from the house sale, about $200,000 after paying off the mortgage, as startup capital for Heritage Home Solutions. When I told my children I'd sold the house, they were upset. Mama, why didn't you consult us first? Levi demanded. Because it's my house, my decision. But that house has our childhood memories, our history. And now it will have someone else's memories. Life moves forward, Levi, not backward. What are you doing with the money? Addie asked suspiciously. Investing it, I said, which was true. I was investing it in my business. Investing in what? Mama, you don't know anything about investing. You're going to get scammed. Old people get scammed all the time. I'll be careful. Mama, please, Wash pleaded. Let us help you. Let us manage the money for you. We can set up a trust or something, keep it safe. I appreciate the offer, but I'm managing it myself. They weren't happy, but there wasn't much they could do. It was my money, my choice. Over the next 6 months, I built Heritage Home Solutions from the ground up. I got my business license, found a good lawyer to help with incorporation and contracts, got liability insurance, took out a small business loan to supplement my startup capital. I hired contractors, carpenters, electricians, plumbers, who specialized in accessible home modifications. I trained them on working with elderly clients, on treating seniors with respect and dignity, on understanding the specific challenges of aging. I created a website, designed brochures, reached out to senior centers and retirement communities and hospitals to let them know about my services. And slowly, very slowly, the business started to grow. My first client was a man named Mr. Alonzo Freeman, an 82-year-old widower who'd fallen in his bathroom and broken his hip. His daughter had found my website and called me, desperate for help making his home safe so he could return from the hospital. I went to meet them, assessed the home, gave them a comprehensive plan for modifications, grab bars in the bathroom, a walk-in shower to replace the tub, a ramp for the front entrance, better lighting throughout the house, and an emergency alert system. How much will this cost? The daughter asked nervously. I gave her a quote. It was fair, not cheap, but not exploitative either. About 40% less than what other companies would charge, because I'd structured my business to be efficient and affordable. That's actually doable, she said, relief flooding her face. When can you start? Tomorrow. We completed the job in a week. Mr. Freeman was able to return home safely. He cried when he saw the modifications. I thought I'd have to go to a nursing home, but now I can stay in my own house. Thank you. That was the moment I knew I'd built something meaningful, something that mattered, something that helped people. And I'd done it at 68 years old, the age my children said I was too weak to do anything. Over the next year, Heritage Home Solutions grew. Word spread. One client would tell their friends. Those friends would tell their families. I started getting calls from social workers, from discharge planners at hospitals, from adult children desperate to keep their aging parents safe at home. I hired more contractors. Then I hired office staff to manage scheduling and billing. Then I brought on a marketing person. Then a customer service team. By the end of year 2, Heritage Home Solutions had 20 employees and had served over 2,000 clients. And my family had no idea. They thought I was living off Elton's life insurance. Thought I spent my days watching TV and going to the senior center. Thought I was lonely and bored, but too proud to admit I needed their help. They'd visit occasionally, every few months, and ask how I was doing. I'm fine, I'd say. What do you do all day, Mama? Don't you get bored? I keep myself busy. Doing what? You should join a book club or something. Maybe take up knitting. You need hobbies. Hobbies? Like running a rapidly growing business wasn't enough of a hobby. I didn't tell them because I wanted to see how big I could build it, how successful I could become, how far I could go before they noticed. And because part of me, a petty, angry part, wanted to watch their faces when they finally found out, when they realized the weak mother they'd been dismissing was actually building an empire. By year 3, Heritage Home Solutions was doing $5 million in annual revenue. We'd expanded to serve the entire Atlanta metro area. We had 60 employees. We'd helped over 5,000 families. I'd also started a mentorship program for seniors who wanted to start businesses. Because I'd learned something important. I wasn't the only older person who'd been told they were too old, too weak, too incapable. There were thousands of us, and many had dreams they'd been told to give up. So I started teaching them, sharing what I'd learned, helping them start their own businesses. Some succeeded, some failed, but all of them appreciated having someone who believed in them. That program caught the attention of the Atlanta Business Journal. They did a feature story on me. 68-year-old widow builds multi-million-dollar business while fighting age discrimination. The article went viral locally. People shared it, talked about it. I started getting invited to speak at conferences, to share my story, to inspire other entrepreneurs. And still, my family didn't know, because apparently none of them read the Atlanta Business Journal. But someone they knew must have seen it, because one day, about 3.5 years into building Heritage Home Solutions, I got a phone call from my daughter Addie. "Mama, someone at work told me they saw an article about a woman named Drusilla Henderson who owns a business. That's not you, is it?" "Yes, it's me." Silence. "Then what? What do you mean it's you? You don't own a business." "I do. Heritage Home Solutions. I started it 3.5 years ago." More silence. Then, "You're lying, you're confused. Mama, are you okay? Are you having memory problems?" "I'm not confused, Addie. I own a business. A successful business." "That's impossible. You don't know how to run a business. You're too old. This must be a scam. Someone is using your name." "Nobody is scamming me. I built this company myself." "I'm coming over, right now. We need to talk about this." She hung up, and an hour later, all 3 of my children showed up at my apartment, looking worried and angry. "Mama," Levi said, taking charge, "we read the article, and we need to understand what's going on. Who convinced you to start this business? Who's taking advantage of you?" "Nobody convinced me. Nobody's taking advantage of me. I started it myself." "That's impossible," Wash said. "You don't have business experience. You don't have startup capital. Someone must have roped you into this, maybe as a front person while they actually run everything." "I am actually running everything. I started with $200,000 from selling the house. I learned what I needed to learn. I hired the people I needed to hire. I built it from nothing." They looked at each other, clearly not believing me. "Mama," Addie said gently, "we think you're being exploited. We think someone saw a vulnerable widow and convinced her to invest her money in a fake business. We're going to help you. We're going to figure out who's behind this and get your money back." "You're not listening to me. There is no scam. I built this company. It's real. It's successful. We did $5 million in revenue last year." $5 million? Levi laughed, actually laughed. "Mama, that's ridiculous. You're 71 years old. You were a nurse. You don't know anything about running $1 million business. Whoever told you that is lying to you." "I have financial statements, tax returns, employee records. I can show you everything." "Then show us. Because, Mama, we're worried about you. This sounds like a classic elder fraud situation." So I showed them. I pulled out my laptop, which surprised them because they didn't think I knew how to use computers, and showed them everything. Bank statements showing revenue, payroll records showing I had 60 employees, client testimonials, media coverage, everything. They sat there, staring at the screen, trying to process what they were seeing. Finally, Levi said, "Even if this is real, which I still don't fully believe, you can't keep doing this. You're 71 years old. This is too much stress, too much work. You're going to have a heart attack or a stroke. You need to sell this company before it kills you." "I'm not selling my company." "Mama, you're being stubborn again. You're too weak to run a business this size. You need to accept that." There was that word again, weak. "Get out," I said quietly. "What?" "Get out of my apartment. All of you. You don't believe me. You don't respect me. You think I'm too weak to succeed. So leave. And don't come back until you can see me as something other than a helpless old woman." They left, shocked and angry. And that was the last time I spoke to them for over a year. But I didn't stop building. Because their doubt, their dismissal, their constant refrain that I was too weak, that just made me more determined. And now, 2 years later, I was standing on a stage accepting a Lifetime Achievement Award. With my family sitting in that audience, their hands shaking, realizing everything they thought they knew about me was wrong. But the night wasn't over. Because after the ceremony, when my family tried to approach me, tried to congratulate me, tried to pretend they'd always believed in me, that's when the real confrontation happened, the one that would change our family forever. $15 million business AT73. If you're shocked, smash that like button and subscribe immediately. Turn on notifications and comment, where are you watching from? And have you ever been called too weak? After the ceremony ended, I stood in the reception area holding my crystal trophy, surrounded by people congratulating me. Business leaders, reporters, other award winners. Everyone wanted to shake my hand, take a photo, hear my story. And through the crowd, I saw my family pushing their way toward me. Levi in front, followed by Addie and Wash, their spouses trailing behind. My grandchildren, who I barely knew anymore, looking confused about what was happening. Levi reached me first. His face was a mixture of shock, pride, and something else. Something that looked like calculation. "Mama," he said loudly, pulling me into a hug I didn't return. "Congratulations, we're so proud of you." I stepped back from the hug, looked at him calmly. "Are you?" "Of course. You're amazing. I can't believe you built all this. Why didn't you tell us?" "I tried to tell you. A year and a half ago, you said I was being scammed. You said I was too weak to run a business. You told me to sell it before it killed me." People around us were watching now, listening. Levi's face flushed red. "Mama, we were just worried about you. We didn't understand what you'd accomplished. But now we do, and we're so proud." Addie jumped in, tears in her eyes. "Mama, you're incredible. All these years we had no idea. You should have told us. We could have helped you." "Helped me? Addie, you told me I needed to accept my limitations, that I was in the phase of life where I should let my children take care of me. Does that sound like helping?" Wash tried a different approach. "Mama, we made mistakes. We see that now, but we're family. Can we talk privately, please?" I looked at my 3 children, at their desperate faces, at the crowd around us pretending not to listen but definitely listening. "Fine, but not here. Come to my office tomorrow, 9 a.m. If you're late, the conversation doesn't happen." "Your office?" Levi asked. "Where is it?" "Look up Heritage Home Solutions. You'll find it." I turned away from them and continued talking to the other guests. Behind me, I heard Addie whisper to her brothers, "She has an office." Don't miss what happens next. Subscribe and turn on all notifications. Comment where you're watching from. The next morning, I arrived at my office at 7:30 a.m. Heritage Home Solutions was headquartered in a modern office building in Midtown Atlanta, 3 floors of workspace, conference rooms, and a state-of-the-art training facility. My personal office was on the top floor, large, professional, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Atlanta skyline. Awards and photos lined one wall, pictures of clients we'd helped, media coverage, certifications, and business milestones. This was my domain, the empire I'd built while my family thought I was wasting away in my apartment. At 8:55 a.m., my assistant Sudi knocked on my door. "Mrs. Henderson, your children are here, all 3 of them. They're early." "Send them in." Levi, Addie, and Wash walked into my office looking around with wide eyes, taking in the space, the success, the reality of what I'd built. "Mama," Addie breathed, this is incredible." "Sit down," I said, gesturing to the chairs across from my desk. I stayed on my side, the power side. This was my territory. They sat, nervous, uncertain, like children called to the principal's office. "So," I said, leaning back in my chair, "you wanted to talk." Levi cleared his throat. "Mama, first of all, we owe you an apology, a huge apology. We were wrong about everything, about you being weak, about you needing to slow down, about you not being capable. We were completely, totally wrong." "Go on." "We let our worry turn into condescension. We treated you like you were helpless when you were actually building something incredible. And we're sorry, truly, deeply sorry." Addie nodded, tears forming. "Mama, I've been up all night thinking about this, about how we treated you. And I'm ashamed. I'm so ashamed. We should have believed in you. We should have supported you. Instead, we tried to hold you back. You didn't just try to hold me back, I said calmly. You actively discouraged me. You told me I was too old, too weak, too incapable. You tried to push me into assisted living. You wanted to manage my money because you thought I couldn't handle it. You dismissed every dream I had because you'd already decided I was done living a meaningful life. Wash looked down at his hands. You're right. Everything you're saying is right. We failed you as children, and we want to make it right. How? They looked at each other, then Levi spoke. We want to be part of this, part of Heritage Home Solutions. We want to help you. I raised an eyebrow. Help me do what? Run the company, grow it, take it to the next level. Mama, you've done something amazing, but you're one person. You need family support. You need people you can trust. Let us work with you. Let us be part of what you've built. I sat forward. Let me make sure I understand. For 5 years, you've told me I'm too weak to do anything. You've dismissed my capabilities. You've treated me like a burden. But now that you've seen I've built a successful company, you want to be part of it. You want positions. You want to benefit from the thing you told me I was too old to create. That's not what we're saying, Addie started. That's exactly what you're saying. You see success, and now you want credit. You want to attach yourselves to something you did nothing to build, something you actively tried to stop me from building. We're your children, Levi said, his voice taking on an edge. Family should work together, share success together. You've built something valuable. Shouldn't we be part of it? Why? What have you done to earn that? What value would you bring? I have a business degree, Levi said. I work in corporate management. I could help streamline operations, improve efficiency. My operations are already efficient. That's why we've grown 300% year over year. I could still help, bring fresh perspective, professional expertise. Or, I said, you could try to take over. Try to push me aside because you still don't believe a 73-year-old woman can successfully run a company. You'd come in talking about helping, but really trying to control. That's not fair, Mama. Isn't it? Levi, a year and a half ago you told me I needed to sell the company before it killed me. You said I was too weak to handle the stress. Now you want to join the company. Do you see the contradiction? He had no answer. Addie tried again. Mama, I work in marketing. I could help with branding, social media, expanding your reach. I have a marketing director, a good one, who helped us grow from 0 clients to over 10,000 in 5 years. But I'm your daughter. I'd be more invested, more committed. Would you be more entitled, more likely to expect special treatment because you're family? Wash, who'd been quiet, finally spoke. Mama, what do you want from us? What would make this right? I looked at my youngest son. At least he was asking the real question. I want honesty. I want you to admit why you're really here. You're not here because you believe in me. You're not here because you want to support me. You're here because you just found out your mother has a multi-million-dollar company and you want a piece of it. You're here because of money. The room went silent because I'd said what we were all thinking. Finally, Levi spoke, his voice cold. That's not fair. Yes, we're impressed by your success. Yes, we'd like to be part of it. But that doesn't mean we only care about money. Then prove it. Go home. Go back to your lives. Stop asking for positions in my company, and instead start treating me like a capable adult. Start respecting me. Start believing in me, not because I'm successful, but because I'm your mother and I deserve respect regardless of what I've accomplished. We do respect you. No, you don't. Because if you did, you wouldn't have spent 5 years treating me like I was incompetent. You would have asked me what I wanted to do with my life instead of telling me what I should do. You would have listened when I said I wasn't ready to retire from life. They left my office angry and defensive, but I didn't care, because I'd meant every word I said. Over the next few weeks, things got worse. My children started telling people they'd always supported my business, that they'd been there from the beginning, that they were proud of what the family had built together. Family, like they'd had anything to do with it. I heard through friends that Levi was telling people at his job that he'd helped me start Heritage Home Solutions, that he'd given me business advice, that the company's success was partially due to his guidance. Complete lies. Addie was posting on social media about her mother's inspiring business and positioning herself as some kind of cheerleader who'd always believed in me. Also lies. Wash was quieter, but I heard he'd told his colleagues that he was helping his mother manage her company and that she was lucky to have family support in her old age. I was furious. They were rewriting history, taking credit for something they'd actively opposed, making themselves look good while pretending they'd never doubted me. So I did something about it. I gave an interview to the Atlanta Business Journal, a long, detailed interview where I told the truth about everything, about how my children had told me I was too weak, about how they'd tried to push me into assisted living, about how I'd built the company in secret because I knew they'd try to stop me. The article came out 2 weeks later with the headline, 73-year-old CEO built empire while family said she was too weak. Now they want credit. It went viral. National media picked it up. Social media exploded. Everyone was talking about the grandmother who'd proved her doubting children wrong. And my children were humiliated. Their friends saw the article. Their coworkers saw it. Everyone knew they'd tried to hold me back. Everyone knew they were now trying to take credit for my success. Levi called me furious. "Mama, how could you do this? You made us look terrible. You humiliated us publicly." I told the truth. If the truth makes you look terrible, that's your fault, not mine. You made it sound like we're greedy vultures trying to exploit you. Aren't you? You want positions in my company that you didn't earn. You're trying to take credit for success you actively opposed. What would you call that? We're your children. We should be able to benefit from your success. That's how families work. No, that's how entitled people think families work. Real families support each other, believe in each other, respect each other. You did none of those things. You dismissed me, doubted me, tried to control me, and now you're angry because I won't let you profit from the thing you told me I was too weak to build. He hung up on me, and I didn't hear from any of my children for 3 months. But here's what they didn't know, what nobody knew. There was more to the story, more I hadn't told anyone, not the media, not my employees, not even my closest friends. Because Heritage Home Solutions wasn't just a business. It was preparation for something bigger, something that would change the entire senior care industry, something I'd been planning for years. And in 2 weeks, I was going to announce it publicly. At the National Senior Care Conference in Washington, D.C., in front of 3,000 industry professionals, in front of media, in front of everyone. It was going to be the biggest moment of my career, the moment that would cement my legacy, the moment that would prove, once and for all, that you're never too weak to change the world. But 3 days before the conference, something happened that threatened to destroy everything I'd built, something I never saw coming. Something that proved my family's interference was even worse than I'd realized. Because they'd done something behind my back, something illegal, something that could cost me my company, my reputation, and my freedom. And I only found out about it when the FBI showed up at my office with a warrant for my arrest. The FBI, a warrant? If you're desperate to know what happens, smash that like button and subscribe now. Turn on all notifications. And comment, where are you watching from? And what do you think her family did? It was 9:15 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. I was in my office reviewing the presentation I'd be giving at the National Senior Care Conference in 3 days. The presentation that would announce my company's biggest initiative yet. Sudi knocked on my door, looking panicked. "Mrs. Henderson, there are federal agents here to see you. They have badges. FBI. My heart stopped. FBI, what do they want? They wouldn't say. But ma'am, they have a warrant. They want to search the office. I stood up, straightened my navy blue blazer, and walked out to the reception area. 2 FBI agents stood there in dark suits, a man and a woman, both looking serious. "Mrs. Drusilla Henderson," the male agent asked. "Yes." I'm Special Agent Booker, and this is Special Agent Dovey Matthews. We have a warrant to search these premises and to question you regarding allegations of fraud and financial exploitation of elderly individuals." The room spun. Fraud, exploitation. There must be some mistake. "Ma'am, we need you to cooperate with this investigation. We have credible reports that Heritage Home Solutions is engaged in fraudulent business practices. Specifically, that you're overcharging vulnerable seniors for unnecessary home modifications and keeping them in unsafe conditions to generate repeat business." That's insane. That's the opposite of what we do. We have sworn statements from multiple sources claiming otherwise. We need to examine your business records, client files, financial statements, and contracts. And we need to question you and your employees. "I want my lawyer," I said, "right now." "That's your right. But Mrs. Henderson, I need to inform you. We also have a warrant for your arrest on charges of elder fraud, wire fraud, and conspiracy to defraud." My assistant Sudi gasped. My employees who'd gathered in the hallway looked shocked. "This is insane," I repeated. "I haven't done anything wrong. This company helps seniors. We've helped over 10,000 families." "Ma'am, please call your lawyer. We'll wait." My lawyer, a sharp woman named Effie Wilcox, arrived within 30 minutes. She reviewed the warrant, spoke with the agents, and then pulled me aside. "Drusilla, this is serious. They have sworn statements from 3 people claiming that Heritage Home Solutions engaged in fraudulent practices. The statements allege that you targeted vulnerable seniors, scared them into buying unnecessary modifications, overcharged them significantly, and in some cases, deliberately did poor work so they'd need repairs and have to pay more." "None of that is true. Who made these statements?" Effie looked at her notes. "The statements are from your son Levi Henderson, your daughter Addie Henderson, and your son Wash Henderson." I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. My children reported me to the FBI. According to these documents, they came forward 2 weeks ago claiming to be whistleblowers who were concerned about their elderly mother running a scam that exploited other elderly people. They painted themselves as concerned family members trying to stop elder abuse. This is retaliation. This is because I wouldn't give them positions in the company, because I gave that interview exposing how they'd treated me. I believe you, but Drusilla, the FBI doesn't care about family drama. They care about the allegations. And right now, those allegations are serious enough that they've opened a full investigation. They're going to go through everything, every contract, every invoice, every client interaction. Let them. They won't find anything wrong because there isn't anything wrong. Every client we've served has been treated fairly. Every modification we've made has been necessary and properly installed. Every price we've charged has been reasonable and transparent. Then we'll prove it, but Drusilla, they're going to arrest you. Formally. You'll be processed, fingerprinted, and then we can post bail. Are you prepared for that?" I took a deep breath. At 73 years old, I was about to be arrested because my own children had filed false reports against me. Yes, let's get this over with. The next 6 hours were a nightmare. I was arrested, handcuffed, taken to the FBI field office, fingerprinted, photographed, questioned for 2 hours while Effie sat beside me. The agents showed me the statements my children had filed. Detailed, specific allegations. My mother deliberately targets seniors with dementia or cognitive decline. She scares them into thinking their homes are unsafe, then overcharges them for modifications they don't need. I witnessed her employees doing substandard work, grab bars that weren't properly secured, ramps that didn't meet code. She does it deliberately so clients will need repairs and pay more. She's taking advantage of her age. She uses her elderly appearance to gain trust, then exploits it. She's running a massive scam targeting the most vulnerable people in our community. All lies, complete calculated lies. "These allegations are false," I told the agents calmly. "Every single one, and I can prove it. I have documentation for every job we've done. Client testimonials, third-party inspections. Financial records showing our pricing is competitive and fair. Building permits showing everything we do meets or exceeds code requirements. Then why would your own children report you? Agent Booker asked. Because 3 months ago, I refused to give them positions in my company. Because I gave an interview explaining how they'd told me I was too weak to start a business, and now they want credit for my success. Because they're angry and vindictive, and they're trying to destroy what I built. That's a serious accusation to make about your own children. They made serious accusations about me, false accusations. They filed false reports with federal agents. They committed a crime to try to take down their own mother. The agents didn't respond to that, but I could see them thinking. Finally, Effie spoke up. Agents, my client is willing to provide full access to all business records. Client lists with contact information so you can interview them directly. Financial audits from independent accounting firms. Building inspection reports. Everything you need to verify that Heritage Home Solutions is operating legally and ethically. We'll need all of that, Agent Dovey said. And Mrs. Henderson, you should know. If we find that these allegations are false, if we find that your children filed fraudulent reports, they could face charges for making false statements to federal officers. Good, I said coldly. They should face charges, because that's exactly what they did. Effie posted my $50,000 bail. I was released with instructions not to leave the state and to cooperate fully with the investigation. When I got home, to my apartment, exhausted and humiliated, there was a message on my voicemail from Levi. Mama, I heard about your arrest. I'm sorry it came to this, but you brought this on yourself. If you just shared the company with us like family should, none of this would have happened. You still have a chance to make this right. Sign over 51% of Heritage Home Solutions to me and my siblings, and we'll withdraw our statements to the FBI. We'll say we were mistaken. We'll fix this. But if you don't, we're prepared to testify against you in court. You'll lose everything, your company, your reputation, your freedom. You'll die in prison. Is your pride really worth that? Call me. We can work this out. I played that message 3 times because it was a confession. A clear, recorded confession that they'd filed false reports as blackmail, as extortion. I called Effie immediately. I have something you need to hear. The next morning, Effie played that voicemail for the FBI agents. They listened, their faces getting harder with each word. That's extortion, Agent Booker said when it finished. They filed false reports to try to take over your company. That's conspiracy, making false statements to federal officers and attempted extortion. What happens now? I asked. Now we investigate them. And Mrs. Henderson, we're going to expedite our investigation of Heritage Home Solutions. Because frankly, this voicemail makes it pretty clear that their allegations are bullshit. Excuse my language. No need to apologize. I've been thinking worse. Over the next 48 hours, the FBI worked fast. They interviewed my employees. They called clients, dozens of them, and asked about their experiences with Heritage Home Solutions. They reviewed contracts, invoices, building permits, inspection reports, financial audits. And they found exactly what I told them they'd find. A legitimate, ethical, successful business that helped seniors age safely in their homes. Mrs. Henderson, Agent Dovey called me on Thursday afternoon, we're dropping all charges against you. Our investigation found no evidence of fraud or wrongdoing. Your business appears to be exactly what you claim, a valuable service for seniors. Thank you. However, we are pursuing charges against your children. We have the voicemail confession. We have evidence that their statements contained deliberate falsehoods. We have proof of attempted extortion. Would you be willing to press charges? I thought about that. My own children, going to prison because they'd tried to destroy me. Yes, I said. I'll press charges. They need to face consequences for what they did. Understood. We'll be in touch. That evening, all 3 of my children were arrested, charged with conspiracy, making false statements to federal officers, and attempted extortion. Their mugshots were all over the news. Children of award-winning CEO arrested for trying to frame their own mother. My phone rang constantly, media wanting statements, friends calling to check on me, clients expressing support, employees asking if the company was okay. "We're fine," I told everyone. "Heritage Home Solutions is operating normally. The investigation cleared us completely, and we're moving forward." But privately, I was devastated. Not because my children were arrested, they'd earned that, but because of what it meant. My own children had hated my success so much that they'd tried to have me arrested, tried to destroy my life's work, tried to send me to prison. What kind of mother raises children who could do that? Friday morning, the day before I was supposed to fly to Washington, D.C. for the National Senior Care Conference, I got a visitor at my office. It was Wash, my youngest son. He'd been released on bail and looked terrible, hollow-eyed, defeated. "Mama, can we talk, please? I don't know if we have anything to say to each other." "Please, just 5 minutes." I let him into my office, didn't offer him a seat, just waited. "Mama, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. What we did was unforgivable, I know that. And I'm not here to ask for forgiveness. I'm here to tell you the truth about why we did it." "I know why. You wanted my company. When I wouldn't give it to you, you tried to take it." "It's more than that. Mama, when you succeeded, when you built something amazing, it made us feel like failures. Here we are in our 40s and 50s, working regular jobs, living regular lives. And our 73-year-old mother is running a multi-million-dollar company. It made us look bad. It made us feel like we'd accomplished nothing with our lives. So you tried to destroy mine. We told ourselves we were protecting you, that you were being taken advantage of, that you couldn't really be that successful on your own. Because if you could be that successful, what did that say about us? That we're less capable than our elderly mother. That's not my fault. I know it's not. Mama, we were jealous and embarrassed and angry. And instead of being proud of you, instead of celebrating your success, we tried to tear you down. And I'm ashamed. I'm so ashamed. Shame doesn't undo what you did. I know, but Mama, Levi, and Addie, they're not sorry. They're angry they got caught. They're already talking to lawyers, planning their defense, trying to figure out how to beat the charges. But I'm done. I'm pleading guilty. I'm taking responsibility, and I'm testifying against them because they need to be held accountable and because you deserve justice." I looked at my youngest son, the one who'd always been the quietest, the most easily led, the one who'd gone along with his older siblings even when he probably knew better. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because tomorrow you're giving that presentation in Washington, the one you've been preparing for, and I didn't want you to go there carrying this weight. This hurt. I wanted you to know not all your children are monsters. One of us sees what we did wrong. One of us is going to make it right." He turned to leave, then stopped. "And Mama, I'm proud of you. I should have said that 5 years ago when you started. I should have believed in you. But I'm saying it now. I'm proud of you." He left, and I sat in my office crying, because even in the midst of betrayal, there was a glimmer of redemption. One of my children had found his conscience. Maybe too late, but he'd found it. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the presentation, about standing in front of 3,000 people and announcing Heritage Home Solutions' biggest initiative yet. But now everything was tainted. My children's betrayal, the FBI investigation, the arrests, the media coverage. Would anyone take me seriously? Would anyone trust me? Would my big announcement be overshadowed by family drama? Part of me wanted to cancel, to hide, to protect myself from more humiliation. But another part of me, the part that had built a company at 68 years old while people said I was too weak, that part refused to give up. So I didn't cancel. I flew to Washington, D.C. I checked into my hotel. I reviewed my presentation one last time. And the next morning, I walked into that conference hall to give the speech that would define my legacy. The speech that would prove, once and for all, that age doesn't limit you. Family betrayal doesn't stop you. And being called too weak just makes you stronger. But I had no idea what was about to happen. No idea that my family was there, in that audience. And what they were planning to do would shock everyone in that room, including me. Her own children tried to have her ARRESTED. If you're emotional right now, smash that like button and subscribe now. Turn on all notifications. And comment, where are you watching from? And could you forgive family betrayal like this? The National Senior Care Conference was held at the Washington Convention Center. 3,000 attendees from across the country, senior care professionals, healthcare providers, government officials, industry leaders. The biggest gathering of senior care experts in the nation. I was scheduled to speak at 10 a.m. in the main ballroom. My presentation was titled Disrupting Senior Care, a New Model for Aging in Place. I arrived at 8:30 a.m. to set up. The ballroom was massive, rows and rows of seats, a huge stage, giant screens on either side that would display my slides. This was it, the moment I'd been preparing for. My phone buzzed. A text from Effie, my lawyer. Drusilla, I need to tell you something. Your children are in D.C., all three of them. They're out on bail. I don't know why they're there, but be careful. My stomach dropped. Why would they be here? Were they planning something? Planning to disrupt my presentation, to make a scene? I texted back, thank you for the warning. I'll be ready. At 9:45 a.m., the ballroom started filling. Thousands of people taking their seats. I stood backstage, watching through a gap in the curtain, and my heart nearly stopped. There they were, fifth row center seats. Levi, Addie, and Wash sitting together, staring at the stage. What were they doing here? The conference organizer, a kind man named Cleveland Porter, came over. Mrs. Henderson, you ready? 5 minutes. Yes, but Mr. Porter, I need to tell you something. My children are in the audience. Fifth row, we have a difficult situation right now. They were recently arrested for filing false reports about my company. I don't know why they're here, but if they try to disrupt the presentation, I'll have security standing by. Don't worry. This is your moment. No one's going to take it from you. At 10 a.m. sharp, Cleveland walked on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker needs no introduction. Over the past 5 years, she has revolutionized how we think about aging in place. She started her company at age 68 and has since helped over 10,000 seniors remain independent in their own homes. She won the Atlanta Lifetime Achievement in Business Award last month. And today, she's here to announce something that will change the senior care industry forever. Please welcome Mrs. Drusilla Henderson, founder and CEO of Heritage Home Solutions. The audience applauded. I walked out on stage, holding my head high. The lights were bright. The screens displayed my company logo, 3,000 people watching. And in the fifth row, my 3 children sat with their hands clasped tightly in their laps, waiting. Thank you, I said into the microphone. Thank you for that warm welcome, and thank you for being here today to hear about something I'm very excited to announce. I took a breath. This was it. 5 years ago, I was a 68-year-old widow. My children told me I was too old to work, too weak to start over, too incapable of building anything meaningful. They wanted me to accept that my life was over, that all I had left to do was wait around to die. Murmurs in the audience, people leaning forward. But I didn't accept that, because I had an idea born from watching my late husband struggle in a home that wasn't designed for aging. An idea that grew into Heritage Home Solutions, a company that has helped over 10,000 seniors age safely and independently in their own homes. But here's what I realized over these 5 years. Home modifications aren't enough. They're important, yes, but they're just one piece of the puzzle. Seniors need more than ramps and grab bars. They need community. They need purpose. They need opportunities to continue contributing to society. They need to be seen as capable, valuable members of our communities, not as problems to be managed. I clicked to the next slide. It showed the logo for a new initiative, Heritage Village Network. Today, I'm announcing the Heritage Village Network, a completely new model for senior living that combines aging-in-place support with community engagement, entrepreneurship opportunities, and intergenerational connection. Another click. The screen showed architectural renderings of beautiful, accessible communities. We're building heritage villages in 10 cities across the country over the next 3 years. These aren't retirement communities. These aren't nursing homes. These are vibrant, mixed-age neighborhoods designed with seniors at the center. Accessible homes, community workspaces, business incubators specifically for senior entrepreneurs, mentorship programs where seniors teach younger generations, healthcare clinics, and social spaces designed for connection. The audience was completely silent, riveted. Each heritage village will employ seniors in meaningful roles, not just as residents but as leaders, as business owners, as teachers, as contributors, because retirement shouldn't mean the end of your productive life. It should mean the freedom to do the work you're most passionate about. We've already broken ground in the first heritage village in Atlanta. It will be completed in 18 months and will house 500 residents with space for 2,000 community members from the surrounding area to use the facilities. We've secured $50 million in funding from investors who believe in this vision. And we're looking for partners, healthcare providers, educators, businesses, who want to be part of revolutionizing how America ages. I paused, looking out at the audience, at the shocked faces, at the people already pulling out their phones to take notes. I'm 73 years old, and I'm building the future of senior care, not because I'm special, but because I refuse to accept that being called too weak defined my limitations. Age doesn't limit us. Society's perception of age limits us, and it's time to change that perception. Heritage Village Network will prove that seniors aren't problems to be solved. We're resources to be valued. We're entrepreneurs, teachers, leaders, and innovators. And when you give us the tools, the support, and the respect we deserve, we'll show you what we're really capable of. The audience erupted, standing ovation, thunderous applause, people on their feet cheering. And in the fifth row, Levi's hands were shaking, actually trembling. Addie had tears running down her face. Wash was staring at the stage with his mouth open. Because they just realized their mother hadn't just built a company, she'd built a movement. She'd created something that would outlast her, something that would change thousands of lives, something that proved, beyond any doubt, that she was never weak. After the presentation, I was swarmed. People wanting to partner with Heritage Village Network, media requesting interviews, healthcare organizations wanting to collaborate. It was overwhelming and exhilarating. But through the crowd, I saw my children, standing at the back of the room, waiting. I finished my conversations, thanked everyone, and walked over to them. "Well," I said, "what did you think?" Levi spoke first, his voice rough. "Mama, that was incredible. I had no idea you were planning something this big. Would you have supported it if you'd known? Or would you have told me I was too weak to pull it off?" He looked down. Probably the second one, and I would have been wrong, again. Addie was crying. "Mama, I'm so sorry for everything, for doubting you, for trying to take credit for your success, for the FBI reports, for all of it. You were building something world-changing, and we were trying to tear you down because we were jealous and small and terrible." "Yes," I said simply, "you were." "Can you ever forgive us?" she asked. I looked at my 3 children. At Levi, who'd always wanted to control everything. At Addie, who'd always needed to be the center of attention. At Wash, who'd always followed his siblings instead of thinking for himself. "I don't know," I said honestly. "What you did wasn't just hurtful, it was criminal. You tried to have me arrested. You filed false reports that could have destroyed my company and sent me to prison. You did that because I wouldn't give you control of something you didn't build. That's not just family drama, that's evil." "I know," Wash said quietly. "That's why I'm pleading guilty, why I'm testifying against Levi and Addie, because you're right, it was evil, and I'm going to pay for what I did." Levi looked shocked. "You're testifying against us, your own siblings." "You testified against Mama first," Wash shot back. "You filed false reports against our mother. Don't talk to me about loyalty." "This is exactly what she wants," Levi said, gesturing at me. "To turn us against each other, to destroy our family." "I didn't destroy our family," I said coldly. "You did that when you valued money over your mother, when you chose greed over decency, when you decided that if you couldn't have my success, you'd destroy it." "So that's it," Levi said. You're just going to let Wash testify, let him send us to prison. You're going to let your own children go to prison. You were willing to let me go to prison, I pointed out. Why should I care more about your freedom than you cared about mine? Because you're our mother. You're supposed to protect us. You're supposed to put us first. I did put you first. For 50 years, I raised you, sacrificed for you, worked multiple jobs to put you through college, supported your dreams. And the moment I pursued my own dreams, you tried to destroy me. So no, Levi, I'm not protecting you from the consequences of your actions. You're grown, you made choices. Now you live with them. I turned to walk away, but Addie grabbed my arm. Mama, please, please don't do this. We made mistakes, terrible mistakes, but we're still your children. Don't we deserve another chance? I looked at her, really looked at her, saw the desperation in her eyes, the fear, the realization that her actions had real consequences. Addie, I gave you chances. For 5 years, I tried to show you who I really was, what I was capable of, and you refused to see it. You refused to believe in me. You chose to see me as weak, as incapable, as someone to be managed instead of respected. That was a choice you made every single day. I was wrong. Yes, you were wrong. And now you have to decide. Are you sorry because you were wrong? Or are you sorry because you got caught? Are you sorry because you hurt me? Or are you sorry because you're facing prison time? There's a difference. And I don't think you've figured out which one it is yet. I left them standing there and went back to my hotel. That night, my phone rang. It was Wash. Mama, can I come talk to you? Just me, please. Fine, room 1247. He arrived 30 minutes later, sat in the chair by the window, looked exhausted. Mama, I need to tell you something. Something I should have told you 5 years ago. When you started Heritage Home Solutions, I thought it was amazing. I thought you were brave and inspiring and incredible. But I didn't say anything. Because Levi and Addie were against it, and I didn't want to go against them. Why not? Because I've spent my whole life following them, being the little brother, doing what they said. I never learned to think for myself, to stand up for what I believe in. And because of that, I let them convince me to do something terrible, something I knew was wrong. You're 44 years old. Wash, that's old enough to make your own decisions. I know, and I'm done following them. Done letting them control me, done being the weak one. You were never weak, you were just afraid. Maybe, but Mama, I want you to know I'm not testifying against them to hurt them. I'm doing it because it's the right thing, because you deserve justice, and because they need to be held accountable, even if that means I go to prison too. I'm ready to face that. I looked at my youngest son, the one who'd finally found his courage, too late to save our relationship, but not too late to save himself. Wash, I can't tell you whether to testify or not. That's your decision. But I can tell you this. I'm proud that you're finally standing up for what's right, even if it's hard, even if it costs you. That takes strength. Am I too late to fix things with you? I thought about that. I don't know, maybe. What you did hurt me in ways I'm not sure I can heal from. But Wash, you're trying. You're taking responsibility. You're doing the work to become a better person. That matters. It doesn't undo what you did, but it matters. Will you ever be able to trust me again? I don't know. Ask me in a year or 5 years or 10. Time will tell. He left, and I sat in my hotel room thinking about family, about forgiveness, about whether love can survive betrayal. Over the next 6 months, the legal process unfolded. Wash pleaded guilty to conspiracy and making false statements to federal officers. He was sentenced to 18 months in federal prison and 3 years of probation. Levi and Addie went to trial. Wash testified against them. The jury found them guilty on all counts. Levi was sentenced to 5 years in federal prison. Addie was sentenced to 4 years. They appealed. They blamed me. They told anyone who would listen that I was a vindictive mother who destroyed her own children. But I didn't engage, didn't respond, didn't defend myself publicly. Because the truth was clear to anyone paying attention, they destroyed themselves. Meanwhile, Heritage Home Solutions continued to grow. We expanded to 12 cities, hired 500 employees, helped 20,000 families. And Heritage Village Network. The first village in Atlanta opened on schedule. 500 seniors moved in, not to retire, but to live, to work, to create, to contribute. We had a grand opening ceremony, news coverage, politicians giving speeches, investors celebrating. And in the crowd, I saw Wash. He'd been released from prison 3 months earlier. He stood at the back watching. When our eyes met, he smiled slightly, a sad, proud smile. After the ceremony, he approached me. "Mama, congratulations, this is beautiful, everything you dreamed it would be." "Thank you. I'm working now. Got a job at a nonprofit that helps formerly incarcerated people reintegrate. It's good work, meaningful work, and I'm seeing a therapist, working on myself, learning who I am without Levi and Addie telling me who to be." "I'm proud of you." "Really?" "Yes, you made terrible choices, but you're trying to make better ones now. That's all any of us can do." "Mama, I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect us to have a relationship again. But I want you to know, I'm proud of you too. And I'm sorry I didn't say that 5 years ago when you needed to hear it." I looked at my youngest son, at the man he was becoming, broken but healing, guilty but growing. "Wash, I can't promise we'll ever have the relationship we once had, but maybe we can build something new, something different, something based on honesty instead of expectation. Would you be willing to try?" His eyes filled with tears. "Yes, if you are." "Then let's try, slowly, carefully, but let's try." Today, at 78 years old, I run Heritage Home Solutions and the Heritage Village Network. We've built 5 heritage villages so far, with 5 more under construction. We employ over 2,000 people. We've helped over 50,000 seniors age with dignity and purpose. I won 3 more major awards, spoke at conferences around the world, was featured in documentaries about senior entrepreneurship, became a voice for aging advocacy. And my family, Levi and Addie, are still in prison. They don't speak to me, don't write, don't acknowledge my existence. They chose bitterness, chose to blame me for their consequences. That's their choice to live with. But Wash and I have slowly, carefully rebuilt something. Not a traditional mother-son relationship, but something honest. He comes to Sunday dinner once a month. We talk about his work, my work, life. He's engaged now to a wonderful woman named Maddie who knows his whole story and loves him anyway. He asked if I'd come to the wedding. "I understand if you can't, after everything, but I'd like you there if you're willing." "I'll be there," I said, "because Wash, you did the work, you became accountable, you grew, and that deserves to be celebrated." My grandchildren, Levi and Addie's children, have reached out as they've gotten older, wanting to know the real story, wanting to understand what happened, wanting to build relationships with the grandmother they barely knew. I meet with them individually, tell them the truth. Don't badmouth their parents, but don't lie about what happened either. Let them draw their own conclusions. Some choose relationships with me, some don't. I accept both. Last week, I gave a speech at a senior center. One woman raised her hand during the Q&A. "Mrs. Henderson, my children keep telling me I'm too old to start a business I've been dreaming about. They say I should just relax and enjoy my retirement. What would you tell someone in my situation?" I smiled. "How old are you?" 72. "I started Heritage Home Solutions at 68. I'm 78 now and still running it, still building, still growing. So here's what I'd tell you. Your children's limitations are not your limitations. Their fears are not your fears. Their vision of what's possible for you is not the truth of what's possible for you. You know yourself better than anyone else does. If you have a dream, chase it. If you have an idea, build it. If you have energy and passion and purpose, use it. Don't let anyone, not even your children, tell you that you're too weak to live the life you want. Because here's the truth. You're not too weak. You're not too old. You're not too anything. You're exactly who you need to be to do what you're called to do. And the people who tell you otherwise, they're projecting their own fears onto you. Don't accept their fears as your reality." The woman stood up and applauded. Then others joined her. Soon the whole room was on their feet, clapping, many with tears in their eyes. Because that's what they needed to hear. That's what we all need to hear. That age doesn't define our capabilities. That being called weak doesn't make us weak. That other people's limitations don't have to become ours. This morning, I got a letter from Addie, the first communication I'd had from her in 4 years. Dear Mama, I'm writing this from prison. I have 2 more years on my sentence. I've had a lot of time to think about what I did, about why I did it, about the kind of person I became. I was wrong about everything. I was wrong to doubt you, wrong to try to control you, wrong to file false reports, wrong to try to destroy what you built, wrong to choose greed and jealousy over love and support. I don't expect you to forgive me. I probably wouldn't forgive me, but I wanted you to know I'm proud of you. Heritage villages are incredible. You changed the world. You proved everyone wrong. You proved me wrong. When I get out, I don't know what kind of relationship we can have. Maybe none. Maybe something small. I'll accept whatever you're willing to give. But Mama, whether you forgive me or not, I want you to know you were right. You were never weak. You were the strongest person I knew, and I was too blind and stupid to see it. Your daughter, Addie. I read that letter 3 times, and I'm still not sure how I feel about it, still not sure if I can forgive, still not sure what our future looks like. But I know this, I survived. I built something meaningful. I proved that age doesn't limit you, that being called too weak just makes you stronger, that you're never too old to change the world. My family said I was too weak. Their hands shook when they heard my name announced, at the awards ceremony, at the conference, in media coverage, on lists of influential entrepreneurs. Because they finally realized I was never weak, I was just underestimated. And there's nothing more powerful than an underestimated woman who refuses to stay small. Wow, what an incredible journey from being dismissed to building an empire that's changing the world. If this story moved you, inspired you, or made you believe you're never too old or too weak to chase your dreams, we need you to take action right now. Smash that like button. Subscribe to our channel for more powerful grandmother stories every single week. Turn on all notifications so you never miss our next amazing story. Comment below and tell us. Where are you watching from? USA, UK, Canada, Jamaica, South Africa, Kenya, Trinidad, Australia. We love our global family. Have you ever been called too weak or too old? Would you have forgiven Addie and Levi? What's a dream you've been told you're too old to pursue? Share this video with anyone who's been told they're too old to start something new. People facing family doubt and dismissal. Seniors who dream of entrepreneurship. Anyone dealing with jealous family members. Everyone who needs to know you're never too weak. Thank you to our incredible viewers from around the world. From the USA, United Kingdom, Canada, South Africa, Kenya, Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, Zimbabwe, Australia, and everywhere else. We see you, we appreciate you, and we love you. Remember Drusilla's lesson. Age doesn't limit you, only perception of age does. Being called too weak is just fuel for your fire. Family doubt can become your motivation. You're never too old to start something world changing. Build your empire in the SHADOWS and let your success do the talking. And being underestimated is the greatest advantage. Prove them all wrong. Stay strong, stay blessed, and remember, there's nothing more powerful than an underestimated woman who refuses to stay small.